What's up, everybody? It's Danny from Hawk Knock Cards. In today's video, we're going to talk about 80s nostalgia. And we're going to talk about some cards too, but just 80s nostalgia. Probably, from my childhood, from the mid 80s to the early 90s, somewhere in that range. I have a buddy of mine that I'm going to interview here in a few minutes, and he's going to talk to you about his collection, not just cards, but also his nostalgia items from the 80s that he has in his collection. So before he comes on, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of go through the house and see what I had, see if I have anything left over from my childhood. And I don't have much. I wish I would have kept more of that stuff. I had Star Wars toys, G.I. Joes, Transformers, all sorts of cool stuff. Of course, I have a little bit of a couple of Nintendo games. I know I had the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out game somewhere. Look how dirty that is. Ice hockey. And I played this game a lot. Shout out to the USA hockey team. Tecmo Bowl. Who remembers playing that game? Better question, who doesn't remember? My NES console. Look how old this thing is and dirty. I remember blowing on the game, putting it in, adjusting it just right, just to get it to work right. My binder from when I was a kid that I kept all my cards in. Where are my cards? Well, most of them are gone. And I took out some of them and put them in a box, of course, from the players that I collect, but I kind of wish I would have kept them all. It's empty. Look at those old stickers on there. Look at this thing. Man. I looked at the date. It has an expiration date of 1991, April 9th, 1991. I was probably a sophomore or junior in high school, sitting at the breakfast table, eating this from this box of Wheaties, and after the box was emptied out, I put it in my bedroom, and where it probably stayed for the next 5-10 years, who knows how long, and then it probably ended up in a box somewhere. And one day, as I was going through my stuff, I found it and put it out and into my living room as a nice little piece of decoration, or whatever you call it. So that's all I have. Like I said, I wish I had more. I wish I would have kept more. For all you young collectors out there, hold on to your stuff. Don't be so quick to get rid of it. Find a good place to store it in. Don't forget about it. You'd be surprised 15, 20 years later what you have. So like I said, here in a few minutes, I'm going to interview my buddy Seth on a Zoom call. I just wanted to kind of do a little introduction before that. And you're also going to see my face for the first time, which I have to apologize to you for that because, well, it's not going to be pretty. But anyway, we'll see you in a few minutes.
A few moments later.
Here we go. What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm excited.
All right. Well, you ready for this?
I hope so.
All right.
Never been on a recorded Zoom call before, so we'll see what I look
Yeah.
like.
I haven't either. So I guess I should just warn my audience of 4 subscribers and tens of views that I get on YouTube that this is not anything professional, and I'm not trying to make it professional. It's just 2 guys with something in common talking on Zoom. So I hope you enjoy this. So when did we meet? I was trying to remember what year it was.
Oh, it would have been about, professionally, probably about 8 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't recall ever meeting you before that. So
It,
yeah.
it was just before COVID, really. So the year
But yeah.
before.
So Seth and I are both teachers, and him and I grew up in small towns in South Central Kansas in similar time periods. I think I'm a few years older than him, but he grew up in a small town near Wichita. I grew up in a small town near Wichita, and we had a lot of the same things in common as far as, how we grew up as kids and playing sports and collecting cards and, the things that we did. So I thought it would be kind of a fun idea to interview him and let him talk about his collection and not just sports cards, but what he has in 80s nostalgia. He's a lot more of a collector than I am. I feel like I'm just now really getting started with my collection journey because I didn't really collect for too long of a time when I was a kid, but probably about 3 or 4 years, and that was it. When he started collecting sports cards, he never stopped. At least I'll let him tell you that, but he's been a collector since he was a kid. So without any further ado, why don't you introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit more about yourself, and maybe talk about your card collecting journey.
All right, yeah, journey is like a great word for it because it's been up and down. I've hit pause and kind of picked it back up, but I started collecting in 1987, so right when the junk wax era started to get going. And my favorite player, this is not the card because I don't have it anymore, but this was my first star I got in my first pack of cards I opened, which is 1988 Topps Don Mattingly. But 1987 was the first set that I got before Christmas in 1987. So then when the springtime came around and they started to put out the 1988 Topps set, I started to really buy packs at my local gas station anytime my dad would buy me a candy bar or a fountain drink or something like that. So naturally in 1985 the Royals won the World Series. So baseball was, my dad and his friends went to the World Series. I didn't get to go. I went to the one later on when the Royals went just recently. But baseball and baseball cards really got going there in the mid 80s for me. And I didn't really have an official team. So when I got that Don Mattingly card in that pack, like a little influential kid, I just said, I'm now a Yankees fan. So I was kind of a Royals fan second, but I became a new Yankees fan. And if you know anything about the Yankees, they didn't really do anything in the 80s until Derek Jeter. That's when they started to win again. So, uh, but after that, I kind of got into basketball and football. And then, just like everybody else, about right when eighth grade freshman year started, I just stopped collecting because I had some money, but I wanted to spend it on other things like girls
Exactly.
and clothes and movies. So I hit pause until probably until it was after I got married, and
So
really
for
when I
me,
was
that
up.
that's exactly my story as well, except I'm just a little bit ahead of you. About the time you started is about the time when I started fading out in about seventh and eighth grade. So, and I don't know what year was that? Yeah. So you started in the 87, 88, and that's about the last years that I can remember opening packs from, 87, 88. So pretty cool.
And then I
Sorry to
remember
interrupt.
one no, 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 one quick story. When I was able to drive, I drove to a card shop for the first time, and I was kind of interested in high school. I was like, well, now that I can drive, I can actually drive into Wichita, and I bought a couple packs, and I bought basketball cards, and I actually got a Kobe Bryant rookie card in the packs that I bought right when I kind of started back up again a little bit. And then, like I said, after I got married, I kind of started to buy graded cards. So, um, like for instance, this Don Mattingly Donruss rookie
Oh, wow.
card was one that I never got these in packs, but I wanted to get that card when I was older and I could afford it, and I finally bought it. And then, and then, I'm trying not to talk too much, but
No, you're
I know
fine.
you like, I know you like this card, and I know the glare is terrible, but it's the 1980 Bird and Magic and
That's my
Dr.
dream
J.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Christmas gift, but my wife got that early before the boom. So
Uh-huh.
I only paid like $250 for that card in a six. So
And you have tons of stories that are similar to that from you picking up things at card shows before the Zoom. I think that's just awesome. What else?
Yeah.
What else were you gonna say?
And then so cards was kind of the initial thing, and I've always been kind of a collector. And when I was at an early age, we would go to garage sales and stuff like that, and then so I started to kind of go to estate sales, and I knew that that would be a good way to just kind of pick and choose. So you could kind of see in the background here some stuff that I have in my collection. So I just started picking up things here and there, whether it was like movies or cards or posters or something like that, or like a My Pet Monster or
Oh wow.
things like that that just reminded me of my childhood. I would grab those at any sale I was at, and then I would just kind of display it in my office or whatever. And it's one of those things you mentioned, nostalgia. It's one of those things where uh, you kind of come down to your office, and if you're going to work or whatever, it just kind of excites your creativity and stuff just to see all the branding and all the packaging and artwork that they had. And then I see everything as kind of art, whether it's like a like something like this, I see
Uh-huh.
that as art as well. Or whether it's like baseball cards or whatever. I like the design and the colors, and so I try to use that as inspiration for what I create as well.
Wow, that's awesome. And I also wanted to talk to you about, well, was first of all, was that your favorite card in your collection, the Don Mattingly? What's your favorite
This
card? Yeah, what?
84 tops, and
Eight.
I know there's a glare, but this is one of those cards that's very iconic from the and this isn't the exact one. I actually have my first one, but I can't find it. I've had it in the last week, but before I came on call with you, I was looking and I just misplaced it. But I still have my original in a screw down case.
Oh
And
wow.
so it's probably
It,
it's not in the best condition, but
it's tucked
my
away
mom,
somewhere.
yeah. But my mom was smart, and she said instead of buying all the packs, which when I bought it, it was probably in 1988, and
Mhm.
and you couldn't really afford 84 tops packs anymore. So I just bought the. She just said, just buy the card. So I did, and it went. That was my favorite card, and it still is to this day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I wanted to get into some more nostalgia items here in a little bit. But I also wanted you to kind of talk about a little bit of a piece of the hobby that might be, in my opinion, probably overlooked by a lot of collectors, but at the same time, I get it because most people want to see cards, they want to look at cards, they want to have them in a binder and open the book. But you have what I think is a pretty awesome sealed wax collection. So, how did you get into that and what got you started and kind of what gave you that idea to just collect sealed wax? And if you don't mind, I know you have some pictures of your collection on Instagram. Do you mind if I share that, share my screen? And
Yeah, that would be great. I put a couple displays that I have with all of them,
so, yeah, go ahead.
and
See, I'll try to figure out how to do
so
that while you're talking.
yeah, yeah, and I have a couple of them here. So, what really got me going was when I lived in Chicago for 4 years. The National Sports Card Convention, the big national show, was in Chicago twice when I lived there. I think it bounced between Chicago and Cleveland at the time. So I went, like I said, before cards really got huge since COVID. I went before that, and uh, Baseball Card Exchange had a big table, and I bought this box from them for $100, and it's wrapped. So it's wrapped in the Baseball Card Exchange wrapping and seal, and it's an '89 Upper Deck box. So
Oh, wow.
I remember they had like $125 sticker on it, and I talked him down to 100 because I had bought multiple stuff from him that day, like uh,
Keep showing
like
that
the
stuff because I
84.
still haven't figured out how to do
Yeah, yeah.
how to share
I
my
just brought
screen.
these two over, but this is '84 tops baseball wrapped. So I bought those at the show, and I was like, you know what? Having full wax boxes reminds me of being a kid and going into the baseball card store. And so I said, well, maybe I can just kind of recreate that at in my office or whatever. So I picked up a little bit here and a little bit there, and I would try to find maybe something on Marketplace, or even at the time, the local card shops were trying to get rid of junk wax stuff. So I would buy. Oh yeah, there's
Finally figured
a
it out.
bunch of stuff there. A lot of stuff that they probably don't want to see.
Sorry about that.
But oh, I like books as well. So if you scroll down, yeah, in there you see, yeah, you'll see that right there. So I just started. That's actually a shoe shelf that I used as a display. Um,
I,
so I would pick up cards here and there, and then I would just put them on that shelf, and it made me feel like I was at a card store. And there's some good ones. I have a different one, and you don't have to look for that or whatever, but it has basketball and football exactly like that. And even some Garbage Pail Kids. I found some of those.
did I pass that already?
I don't know, maybe.
I'll
Um,
just kind of scroll through this slowly and let you talk about what you see.
yeah, yeah, that's probably about as good there. Yeah, those are some of the displays behind me. But so I would base like I said, I would go to sales, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want from a sale if it kind of fits your collection. And I also, when I lived in Chicago, I also went to the Kane County Toy Show, which is a bad thing in my opinion, because you could buy a ton of this stuff. But that's kind of how my big collection started when I was living in Chicago, because I would go to the Kane County Toy Show and the National Sports Card Convention. So between those two things, I just started picking up pieces that really remind me of my childhood in the 80s itself. But another thing, I have something else I could show you.
Look at these posters.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I think, oh,
So
these are awesome.
that was from an estate sale. Somebody was selling all those.
Police Academy
So
2 was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I remember one time after we finally got a VCR, some people probably don't even know what that is that are watching this video, but it came on TV and I recorded the movie and I would watch that thing over and over.
it's classic. That's the kind of stuff that we had growing up, was that crude comedies, and they always, seem to have things that probably are really vulgar now. But
Right.
yeah, so I would find posters as well. I've had some really good finds with posters. So I even found like Fright Night and Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and Lost Boys and Jurassic Park and Pulp Fiction, and
See,
a lot of those that I could pick up for pretty cheap.
this is from my hometown, Augusta, in Kansas, by the way.
Mhm.
The historic movie theater that they have there, which is pretty awesome. If you're ever in the area, go check that out. And to me, this is just, that's no good. That marshmallow right there, that's burnt to a crisp. I don't even know if I could
It's
eat that.
perfect.
All right.
You
Well,
got to have a little crust on the outside.
is there anything else that you would like to share? Oh, I remember these. Speak and spell. So,
Oh
so what
yeah,
did that do? Tell us what that did when you were a kid.
that's how you phone home if you're ET. No, that they would basically a very low level way to spell, and they would have little challenges and stuff that you can use the keyboard there to do. So
Yeah. Probably the worst video game of all time.
yeah, it's not the best.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about some of your 80s nostalgia? What's your favorite thing, if you haven't already said? some of that time that you were
Um,
talking, I was trying to figure out how to get this screen share. What's your favorite, nostalgia
it's hard
piece?
to pick one thing, but I would say the very first thing that I ever bought was on Craigslist, and it was carded Ninja Turtle action figures that were still sealed, kind of like the one that I showed you here, but it was actually the original um, 10 backs. I got all 10 of them.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but I do want to show you one thing.
Uh-huh.
For all you baseball card collectors out there, this is a 1951 Ted Williams Bowman card. And I know the glare is pretty bad, but it's only a two. But the story behind this is I found this at an estate sale. And then I sent it in to get graded because I wanted to make sure it was authentic and stuff. But I found an old photo album that was full of Bowman cards, and the lady had glued them all. And the interesting thing about the Ted Williams is it's the only one that she didn't trim. And she trimmed all the cards to fit them on the page. And this was in the middle of one of the pages, and it fits. She must have glued this one first and then trimmed all the other ones in the book to squeeze them in. But I kept this one, and I did keep some of the Hall of Famers, but they're all trimmed, like I said.
Yeah.
But that so this just reminds me of how you can go into a garage sale or an estate sale or something like that, or flea market, and you could still find stuff like this. And since they were all trimmed and glued in, they sold me the bunch for $100. So I was able to take those home, and it didn't have a Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays or anything like that. I think they had been ripped out because I can't remember if I told you this, but on the Yankees page, there's a little, the top corner was torn off.
Uh,
But it did have a Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra, and that was Whitey Ford's rookie card that year. But it's all trimmed, and it would just be authentic. It wouldn't even have a poor rating because it's trimmed.
so just so you know, if you run into something like that where the cards are glued into the pages, there is a way to get those off. And, Seth knows how to do that. He could help you out. So somehow he got that out of a glued
Thanks to
page of a
YouTube.
photo album and it went through PSA and they graded it and they gave it a two. So I think that's awesome. Okay. What else do I have here on my list to discuss? And we probably better wrap this up here pretty quick. Um, let's play a little game. Let's play a little this or that.
Okay.
So everybody knows how to play this or that. I say something or something, and you have to pick one or the other. I don't think this is going to be too difficult. In fact, I think I already know what all your answers are going to be. Binders or top loaders with cards and boxes.
I like binders. Unfortunately, binders to me is what the hobby's all about. You can flip through it and see them just like when you were a kid. And I have both, but I cherish my binders more. In fact, you cringed when I showed you what I did with all my Michael Jordan cards. I took them out of top loaders and put them in my binder. But I don't do it for
Okay.
the money. I do it for the memories.
Yeah, it's
So
not like you're trying to sell them,
no.
All right, graded or raw?
Oh, that depends.
No,
Um,
well, graded or raw? No, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
well, the only reason why I say it depends is if it's like a really true vintage, like the Ted Williams, I want to make sure it's authentic, and to get it encased and graded, it kind of solidifies um, the condition, and it tells you that it's authentic. Because you never know if you buy it where you buy it. You guys know about counterfeiting cards, um, but a true 80s person, I like raw cards just because um
You
it's
don't,
like in its original condition that you got it out of a pack.
you
So
didn't grade that to increase the value. You graded that to get it authenticated and to just encapsulate it so that it's just going to, last forever. All right, let's go. Let's cruise through the rest of these. Tops or Panini?
tops. I'm a tops guy.
Buying singles or boxes to open packs?
Like modern or old?
Would you rather, buy singles of cards
Yeah.
that you collect or buy packs to open?
Well, I like packs.
I guess it could be
But
modern or
I,
old.
I don't really like any of the modern stuff though. But I would much rather open a box of 1987 tops than go buy a single or something. You know that. We
Yeah,
do
I
that.
know, I know. All right, Kobe or LeBron? Oh wait, I forgot one.
Uh,
Basketball cards or baseball cards?
I'm gonna have to say baseball because that was my original.
So that Kobe or LeBron?
Um, that's tough. That's tougher than people think. I would probably go with LeBron just because of the total package and on and off the court. If I have to say that's a tiebreaker,
All right, so LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan, come on,
McGuire or Sosa?
Maguire,
Griffey or Bonds?
Griffey.
Mantle or Mays?
That's tough. Mays was a better player overall, I think, as kind of the five tool stuff. But being a Yankees fan, I gotta say Mantle.
Of course.
Although I have a lot more Willie Mays cards than I do Mickey Mantle cards.
Ryan or Clemens?
Nolan Ryan.
Cards or 80s nostalgia?
Ooh, now that's the toughest one of all. Um, they're almost one and the same. I would, if I had to give up one or the other, I would probably give up all the nostalgia stuff because um, cards was kind of my first thing I ever collected. So I would have to go back with my original hobby.
Good answer. I like that. All right, this one's kind of out of the blue. This is the last one. Teaching or coaching?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, it's, it's coaching because you don't have to grade anything except for evaluate players.
True,
I
true.
I like competition. That's what drives me. So I think coaching um it was I mean, I don't know.
I
I
thought
I
you
don't
were
want to
going to
say
look
I
at it as, what you do when you're teaching and what you do when you're coaching and say something like it's the same thing. But you took the other way, like the teaching profession versus the coaching profession, which I thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, I didn't think you were going to look at
but
it that way, but
when you coach, you also teach and then you get to play a game. When you teach, you can't really you could play games in your classroom, but you don't really get to go against other schools and athletes and I don't know.
it's
They're right there. Um, but I like the challenge of competition on a court or a field better, I think. If I had to be honest, I'm being honest.
yeah, I am too. I mean, I think a lot of us coaches that got into teaching probably got into teaching because they wanted to be coaches, but they also like that, like you said, playing for a school and, having the student section and the crowd and the lights on and the referees and having that school spirit behind it. So, all right, so I guess that's about it. We got 3 minutes and 58 seconds left in this Zoom call. Is there anything else you want to share? Oh, I know you have something in the works that's going to be awesome. I think people are going to really like it. I know you're not quite there yet. You're not quite ready for it yet, but is there anything you want to say about that before we hang up?
Um, I like to be creative and I like to kind of mash everything that goes on in my mind. I'm losing my hair. But I'm creating something I guess you could say that takes all my interests with sports and comedy and art and I like reading and just stuff like that. So uh, it's kind of a I don't really want to give it away. I will let you show it off on your channel when I come
Right.
up with it, like some of the final product. But it's something that takes me back. Let's just say that from when I was a child, and I try to recreate that. And it's heavy on cards and collecting, but also that junk wax era is what I would say.
It's awesome, guys. I've already got to see a little trial run of it. You guys are going to love it. Please stay tuned. What are your socials? I guess you already saw them. I put them on the screen share, but
Oh yeah,
do you want me to go ahead and I'll post those socials, or when this video comes out, you can put it on the comments and let everybody know who you are and
yeah,
how they can look you up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I don't think that'll be ready yet, but pretty soon you're going to
yeah.
have a YouTube
Just
channel. So,
yeah, I would like to. Instagram, it's nurtured in the 80s. It's a play on word with kind of being growing up in the 80s, but it's spelled Nerd, like being a nerd, because I think I'm kind of a nerd. So uh, nurtured in the 80s, and I like everything from sports to movies to music and toys and collectibles. So it's just kind of a little bit of everything.
all right. Can't wait. Thanks a lot, Seth.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.